grumpy old cronies washing her ass with expensive face soap. Hello, and welcome to a slightly more brief grumpy old crone with me, Annie, where I'm going to be skimming over some things that don't matter very much in the pagan and witchcraft communities, because normally I post on a weekend, but this weekend my son is getting married, so I'm hoping to try and do a quick update during the week. I'm recording this on Wednesday, and then I'll get it to upload whilst I'm wearing a silly hat and drinking Prosecco. I was going to say wearing Prosecco and drinking a weird hat, which will probably happen, but much, much later in the weekend, I suspect. Anyway, so for this weird little kind of squashed up video, I'm going to be taking a bit of a journey back in my time machine to when this first section was still called Witchy Aesthetics, because I saw a brilliant couple of things this week and I really wanted to discuss them here. So, Witchy Aesthetics. So I decided to spend a little bit of time off on Saturday catching up on some of my YouTube subscription viewing. Now, unsurprisingly, I suppose I've got quite a few witch-centric creators that I love to watch and catch up on. And amongst the vast majority of really great creators making fab content, every now and again, people say things that make you go, yo, eh? Or, huh? And dear cronies, that was exactly the situation that I found myself in. So I was watching one of my guilty pleasures, witchy shopping hauls, and a creator was talking about visiting a bath and body type shop that had some magic coded type products. Fair enough. I'm never going to be the target audience for kind of Eye of Newt body butter, but I thought we'd see what she'd got to say. So she held up what looked like a beautifully packaged soap, talked about the lovely scent, and then said the immortal words, "I wonder if you can use it on your face as well." Now, I paused the video and then I watched it again just to be sure. And yes, she really did say, "I wonder if you can use it on your face as well." Now, I opened and shut my mouth a few times, a bit like a guppy in a fish tank. Because why in the 9 realms of Yggdrasil would you not be allowed to use it on your face? Is there some kind of witchy soap police who swing into action when the shower alarm goes off? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Grumpy old cronies washing her ass with expensive face soap. Send in the shock troops to get that bath sponge off her. Red alert! She put shower gel on her face flannel. Civilization is about to fall. Call the lawyers. Now, I've made soap. I mean, it's not complicated. It's just basically fat, lye and nice smelly things. I mean, that's literally it. It's like fun chemistry for people who daydreamed through the periodic table. There is no difference between washing your face and washing your knees. Literally, if part of you gets dirty, wash it with soap. It's not rocket science, is it? If you want to feel a little bit more creamy, then you can super fat your soap, which means it's just a little kinder to your skin with a little less lye and a little bit more fat. It won't get you quite as clean, and you may leave like a slight residue on your skin that you find unpleasant, but honestly, that's about as far as the complicated stuff really goes. So, do I believe that you should pay £100 for a pot of face cream? No, I do not, because based on my incredibly unscientific control group of, me, I don't think fancy face creams do squat apart from hoovering money from your bank account into the face cream suppliers' bank accounts. I am genetically blessed with pretty clear skin, actually, yay me. I can balance out that blessing with a pot belly, triple chin and droopy eyelids, but I've got to be honest, my skin is courtesy of my maternal line. My aunt looked like a film star. I'm not kidding, she really did. She had the most incredible alabaster skin and like cupid bow lips. She was often stopped by people who asked how she got such amazing skin. Soap and water twice a day, she'd say. And she wasn't lying. As well as being incredibly beautiful, she was not even slightly vain. And really, that is all that she did. Now, my mum, her sister, was the same. Although being slightly more outdoorsy, her skin was less alabaster and a bit more tan because she did a lot of rowing and stuff. But that was it. And, that's pretty much all I do too. So when I hear somebody saying, can I use it on my face? Then yes, of course you can. If it smells nice, you aren't bloody allergic to it, always worth checking with soap, because the fancier it gets, the worse it can react sometimes, I have found. Then you can use it wherever the hell you like. Hands, check. Elbows, check. Arse, check. Behind your ears, check. Don't believe the commodification of stuff that will lead you to believe that you need different products for each part of your body. Bollocks! Which leads me to mention, before the end of this section, that even more egregious than soap that you need permission to use on your head is the advert that I saw whilst watching TV last night. Now, I kid you not, lower body deodorant. What the actual... Are we meant to use 2 types of anti-pong spray now? The advert literally shows people sniffing other people's bums and crotches. Why would I want to do that? As a woman, I spent 30 years trying to stop weirdos doing shit like that. I'm not a biologist, but I'm not at all convinced that sweat from different areas of our body is sufficiently different so as to need different types of anti-smell spray. Can people not, just shower? Or use regular deodorant? What happened to body spray that you just spray everywhere? Honestly, I think the beauty industry is running out of new ways to part us from our money. What's next? Moisturiser that only works on kneecaps. Shower gel for your left ear. Sorry, I'll move on a bit. Shall we slide over to today's meat and 2 potatoes? Yeah, meat and 2 potatoes. Right. Okay. I should calm down from that a little bit and move on. So I have in the past done my fair bit of venting about Christians in the past on this channel, but I do try to be equal in my annoyances, and with this in mind, I'm going to have a go at the direct opposite today. So if you're confused by what I'm on about, let me try to clear it up. There are some people who I will refer to as being very invested in being witchier than thou. You've probably seen them in pagan spaces, both in real life and online. They tend to pop up around popular socially Christian holidays that other people celebrate. Most popularly, I have found, Christmas. And they will take any and every opportunity to be really, really offended about Christmas. They will, apropos nothing, hold forth on how Christians stole the Midwinter Festival and how we should all be celebrating Yule. They will correct people who refer to Christmas trees, and if suitably wound up, will start posting memes that are badly sourced with made-up facts that they would like people to believe about Yule and Christmas, and given a different time of year, that reprehensible tripe about Ishtar being the real Easter and so forth. So now, before anybody starts accusing me of hypocrisy, and if you choose to do so in my comments, thank you, your anger helps to stoke my audience engagement hugely. But as I was saying, before anyone starts typing out that angry comment, I don't necessarily disagree. It's a point of history that Christian missionaries 100% stole all the good pagan festivals. They put their Christian idols in our temples and instructed people to eat all the particularly tasty sacred offerings, because nothing's easier to convert than somebody who's just had a really, really nice meal courtesy of this shiny new god over here. And that's not an opinion, it's history. And whatever the orange toddler-in-chief says, facts still matter. So what I would say is that performative anger 1500 years after the event is fairly unlikely to change anything. And while Brian and Marjorie, the Penge pagans, might be very annoyed at the fact that Yule got nicked and baby Jesus got plastered all over it, let's be honest and say that they may well also choose to put up a Christmas tree and eat turkey on the 25th of December. And honestly, there's nothing really wrong with that. There's an awful lot of this stuff that's just... Well, it's not really very Christian anymore, is it? For example, where in the Bible does it say that we should celebrate with tinsel, fairy lights and a huge fruitcake? That isn't Christian, that is societally expected. For a millennia and a half, and particularly the last 100 or so years, we have worked really hard to build up a huge amount of industries and a whole society around the random ass concept of Christmas and other events as well. And almost none of it has to do with the actual biblical concept of the holiday itself. I challenge anyone to go hunting through the Bible and find some kind of reference to what we now consider to be holiday staples. The vast majority of it, if we're being honest with ourselves, was invented by the Victorians or later. trees, red and green decor, tinsel, huge meals, getting the family together, gift giving, tins of sweets, nutcracker soldiers. Not a bloody bit of it has anything to do with Christianity. So in my book, if you want to indulge in it, then why the hell not? It's not in the Bible. It's not appropriating anyone's religion or culture. Knock yourself out. I personally will be eating a lot of fruitcake and reading some nice new books and probably making a roast meal that is about 4 times bigger than Mr. Grumpy Old Crone and I need, because that's literally the only way that I know how to cook these days. But there are a whole group of people who get really, really angry about this stuff. You should be celebrating Yule, they will shout. Well, yeah, I hear that, but I also see that society pushes a whole load of this stuff at us. And if it isn't biblical, why shouldn't we have a tub of chocolates and some apple cinnamon scented candles? For that matter, when I was growing up in the 70s, Father Christmas was very likely to be portrayed in a long green or blue robe and be old and thin with a long grey straggly beard. He was most definitely not Santa Claus St. Nicholas. I'm not a specialist in archetype study, so I don't really know where he came from, other than he actually was different to Santa Claus. But looking back, I don't know, he seems a bit more pagan. Maybe, who knows? And, this is where my own personal ambivalence rises to the surface. And on any given day, you may get a different answer from me, because yes, I am still a bit angry about the fact that all the pagan holidays were just steamrolled over by Christian missionaries. I'm angry that we've had to mostly reconstruct the old beliefs from whole cloth because they were destroyed and left as fragmentary concepts. And if we're honest, we can't trace this stuff backwards enough to be sure what that worship was actually like. Anything that someone holds up and claims is an ancient tradition is asking for that claim to be closely examined. And frankly, a lot of those claims don't hold up to even the most cursory fact-checking. Lying about something doesn't make it true, however much we want it to be. And if we claim otherwise, are we any better than the tangerine toddler-in-chief? Let's be honest about the fact that we've had to reconstruct our religions because of what was done to them. Let's own our anger about that. But equally, reconstructing and bringing our religions back to life does not negate what was put in their place. Now, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but 1,500 years of Christianity in a country tends to embed it deep. We can't expect people to just examine all of their societally taught norms and then abandon them because, and this is the important bit, we still live in a society that worships at the feet of a commercialised Christmas, Easter, Halloween, whatever. However we may worship and feel. And as we swing around that fabulous 1970s invention, Aidan Kelly's Wheel of the Year, and approach Halloween, it's thrown into super stark contrast. It's a hugely important festival for many, many pagans and heathens, me too. It's one of the ones that we do have some historical basis for. Some Neolithic chambered tombs are oriented with the Samhain sunrise, indicating that it had a significance in terms of the dead. There is 9th and 10th century Irish literature naming it as one of the important festivals for the Irish. So there is historical basis for it. Being the queen of pagan pettiness that I am, I'm all about it because the Christian church brought in All Hallows Day to try and suppress it a bit, which makes me love the original even more because they obviously hated it and still do. But we'd have to be blind to not see the commercialisation that it's somehow picked up, like, I don't know, treading on a lump of dog poo before walking into a carpeted house. Halloween traditions seem to be inescapably scented everywhere. Everything is orange and black and has bats attached to it. Now, in much the same way as Christmas, I don't necessarily think this is bad. I bloody love pumpkins. My garden pumpkins are going great guns and turning a very happy orange as we speak. And as I've mentioned on many occasions, I really enjoy decorating for the season, and a few bats and cobwebs are brilliant. Mr. Grumpy Old Crone and I will dress up and tag team at the front door with a sweetie bowl. If they are tiny kids who knock, they will be given kind and gentle attendance from us, and they will be given the choice of the sweetie bowl. However, if they are hulking teenagers demanding sweets with menaces, we will attempt to terrify them. The teenager who screamed and ran away was a particular highlight one year. We love Halloween. We embrace Halloween. And when the treat bowl is empty, we will turn off the inflatable pumpkin and the hallway lights, take in the decorations and put out the jack-o'-lantern. And I will come upstairs. I will light my altar candles. I will summon my beloved dead and I'll hold ritual with them. I will have Samhain then. So in this house, it isn't either Halloween or Samhain. It's both, because some of this is societal, not religious. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm anything other than a 21st century English witch living in the middle of a city. And let's stop shaming people for how they choose to celebrate or whether they accidentally type Christmas instead of Yule. Let's be honest, as regards Christmas, a vanishingly small number of people celebrate it religiously anyway. So, why not enjoy a couple of holidays in the same space of time? I'm going to put forward the concept of forgetting either or and embracing and when it comes to pagan holidays. If you want to hang some plastic bats this Samhain, have at it. My house is going to be an autumnal wonderland of toadstools, leaf garlands and the wonder that is the Poe globe, which I will show you when we get a bit closer to the date in question. The Poe globe. And let's be honest, let's really be honest about this. Filing off the serial numbers and keeping all the lovely bits that we enjoy is the most karmically apt way of re-paganing the holidays anyway, as that's what the buggers did to us in the first place. Yes, Karen, I'm celebrating Yule with tinsel, ha, and a tree with lights on it, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop me. Ha, 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 ha. Sorry, that got a bit unhinged there, didn't it? Anyway, right, before I start talking about Samhain decorating 4 weeks early, let's move on to the positive bit. Here comes the positive bit. Well, as you watch this, I am probably having a lovely time at my son's wedding, so that is pretty positive for a start. So I'm going to give you a few things that have either made me laugh or have cheered me up this week. The first thing that made me laugh was the fact that in my ongoing list of inappropriate people who want to sponsor the channel for money, I can now add Temu. Woohoo! I have no idea what they want me to plug, but I'm almost tempted to answer them positively to find out. Apparently, they will allow me to have some free products, which, given the price of the average thing on Temu, means I'll probably be selling my soul and my integrity for a £3.27 gadget for cleaning my kitchen sink plug hole. I always imagined my soul being slightly more expensive than that, but maybe not, I don't know. I'm wondering how they're going to react to English sarcasm. Do you think Temu's marketing bots get English sarcasm? I'm still debating this one, as I think it could be quite funny. How would they react to me burning pirated tarot cards online? Stay tuned. Anyway, in terms of appropriate gifts that I did not expect but I absolutely bloody love, my choir friend Penny found these cards and gave them to me. Mushroom affirmations. I love mushrooms and I love cards, and everyone needs a good affirmation. So, what is not to absolutely love? I fell in love with these immediately, particularly as the very first card I pulled out was the Hairy Trumpet Funnel, which sounds like a euphemism if ever I've heard one. The affirmation was also about reducing clutter around me to make way for new things, and I've never felt quite so called out by a rude euphemistic card in my entire life. So I read some of my to-be-read pile of books and stuck them on the bookshelves, and because my bookshelves are already stacked out, I had to weed out some of the books I don't want anymore. The pain, the horror. I have to take them down to the charity shop next week. We have an Oxfam bookshop and they also sell very nice incense, so I might take them down there when I remember next week after the wedding. So I always think that I'm going to get loads and loads done in summer because my day job winds up for 6 weeks, but then I also simultaneously forget that we spend those 6 weeks working at festivals, travelling, helping out family and friends with projects, and generally managing to be about 50% busier than we are when we're just plain working. I am reliably informed by friends older than I am that this is exactly how retirement works too. You think you're going to have a lovely long rest, and actually you end up being about a million times busier and wondering how you ever found the time to work. So all the things that I had planned on doing this summer are still lying in forlorn piles on my desk, making me feel a bit guilty. However, I'm hoping that I'm going to get on top of these before Samhain. Feel free to hold me accountable and say, how are your super secret projects going, Annie? And make me feel spectacularly guilty, because as a slightly neurodivergent person, no, my mother didn't take painkillers while pregnant, and I'm still weird as all hell. Nothing motivates me more than other people moaning at me. So I'm probably going to regret saying that in the very near future, aren't I? Oh well. Anyway, and finally, in a majestic bit of displacement activity, did I mention the neurodivergency? Totally there. Majestic piece of displacement activity. I just worked out that last year I wrote about 250,000 words of grumpy old crone script, which I then managed to digress from completely. And that's quite a lot, isn't it? For someone who always thought I'd never be able to write anything of any length, I'm feeling quite proud of myself. And I put it all down to you, lovely cronies, who give me half an hour of your hard-earned time every week to spend together while I shout at metaphorical clouds and drink too much tea, which I forgot to bring up with me. Thank you. Having promised to continue to do a weekly blessing last week, I can't fail to do one this week. So, may your pantry be full of the fruits of the harvest, and your hearts be full of the fruits of your community. However many friends surround you, always know that there's at least one more over here in England who always feels blessed by your company. Raise a glass or a mug to the downfall of hatred and the rebirth of love for us all. Cheers! I'll see you next week.